Imagine a world where every plant and animal was a mystery, a world without names or classifications, a world where the tomato was just a strange red fruit, and the lion was just a big cat. This was the world before Carl Linnaeus, but Linnaeus changed everything. His work was so groundbreaking that it was like he gave names to all the creatures of the world, just like in the biblical story of Adam. This essay will take you on a journey through the life and work of Linnaeus, showing you how he revolutionized the way we understand nature. Carl Linnaeus was born in 1707 in a small village in Sweden. From a young age, he was fascinated by plants and animals. His parents encouraged his curiosity, and he spent countless hours exploring the fields and forests around his home. As he grew older, Linnaeus realized that the world was full of plants and animals that no one had ever named or classified. This realization sparked a passion in him that would change the course of natural history. In the early 18th century, the study of nature was in a state of chaos. Naturalists from all over Europe were collecting plants and animals, but they had no standardized way to name or classify them. Each naturalist used their own system, which often led to confusion. For example, the same plant might be called by different names in different countries, or even by different names in the same country. This made it nearly impossible for scientists to communicate or build on each other's work. Linnaeus was determined to bring order to this chaos. He began by studying the work of his predecessors, such as Andrea Cesalpino and John Ray. Cesalpino, a 16th century botanist, had tried to classify plants based on their general structure, but his system was limited and often ignored the lower plants like lichens and mushrooms. John Ray, a 17th century naturalist, had made a significant breakthrough by making the species the basic unit of classification. Linnaeus built on their work and developed a system that was both simple and comprehensive. Linnaeus' most famous contribution was his sexual system of plant classification. He grouped plants into classes based on the number and arrangement of their stamens' male reproductive parts, and then subdivided these classes based on the number of pistils' female reproductive parts. This system was easy to use in the field, and it allowed naturalists to quickly identify and classify plants. However, Linnaeus was not just a pragmatist. He believed that his system reflected the wisdom of a divine creator who had designed the natural world with an underlying order. He saw the variety of reproductive strategies in plants as a testament to the creator's ingenuity. But naming and classifying plants was only the beginning. Linnaeus also realized that the nomenclature of biology was a mess. The names used by different naturalists were often long, vague, and inconsistent. For example, a plant in the morning glory family might be called Convolvulus folio althi by one naturalist and Convolvulus argenteus althi folio by another. Linnaeus decided to create a universal system of naming that would be clear and consistent. He invented the binomial nomenclature system, where each species is given a two-part name consisting of the genus and the species. For example, the human species is named Homo sapiens, where Homo is the genus and sapiens is the species. Linnaeus' binomial system was a stroke of genius. It was simple, elegant, and easy to use. It allowed naturalists to communicate clearly and precisely, and it provided a common language for scientists around the world. The system was so successful that it is still used today, more than 250 years after Linnaeus first introduced it. But Linnaeus' work was not just about naming and classifying. He was also a teacher and an inspiration to a generation of naturalists. He trained a group of students, whom he called his apostles, and sent them on expeditions around the world to collect specimens. These apostles were some of the most courageous and dedicated scientists of their time. They braved harsh conditions, dangerous voyages, and even death to bring back new plants and animals for Linnaeus to study. One of Linnaeus' most famous apostles was Peter Kalm. Kalm was sent to North America to collect plants that could be grown in Sweden for medicine, food, or manufacturing. He traveled extensively throughout the colonies, exploring Pennsylvania, New York, and Canada. Despite the challenges he faced, Kalm managed to collect a vast number of specimens, including many new species. When he returned to Sweden, Linnaeus was overjoyed and named a whole genus of mountain laurels after him, calling it Kalmia. Another notable apostle was Frederick Hasselquist. Hasselquist was sent to Egypt, Palestine, Syria, and other parts of the Middle East, regions that were largely unexplored by European naturalists at the time. Unfortunately, Hasselquist died of a tropical fever before he could complete his mission. However, Linnaeus was able to secure the publication of Hasselquist's journals, which contained a wealth of new information about the plants and animals of the region. Linnaeus' apostles were not just collectors, they were also explorers and pioneers. They ventured into uncharted territories, facing unknown dangers and challenges. For example, Per Osbeck, another of Linnaeus' students, was sent to China as a ship's chaplain. He managed to collect a rich herbarium of 600 specimens, which he brought back to Linnaeus. Similarly, Petrus Loeffling was sent to Spain and South America, where he made significant botanical discoveries before tragically dying of a tropical fever. Despite the losses he suffered, Linnaeus continued to send his apostles on expeditions around the world. He was driven by a deep sense of purpose and a belief that every plant and animal had a place in the divine order of nature. His work inspired a new generation of naturalists, including Joseph Banks, who organized and funded expeditions to explore the world's flora and fauna. One of the most famous of these expeditions was the voyage of the HMS Beagle, which carried the young Charles Darwin. Darwin, like many other naturalists of his time, was influenced by Linnaeus' work. He used Linnaeus' classification system to organize the specimens he collected during his voyage, which would later form the basis of his groundbreaking theory of evolution. Linnaeus' legacy extends far beyond his lifetime. His system of classification and nomenclature laid the foundation for modern biology and continues to be used by scientists around the world. His work inspired a global movement of naturalists and collectors, who dedicated their lives to exploring and understanding the natural world. Today, we take for granted the names and classifications of plants and animals, but we owe a great debt to Linnaeus for his pioneering work. In the end, Linnaeus' greatest achievement was not just in naming and classifying, but in inspiring a sense of wonder and curiosity about the natural world. He showed that the study of nature is not just a scientific endeavor, but a spiritual one. He believed that by understanding the order and diversity of the natural world, we could gain a deeper appreciation of the wisdom and beauty of the Creator. This belief fueled his passion and drove him to create a system that has stood the test of time. So, the next time you see a tomato in your garden or a lion at the zoo, remember Carl Linnaeus. Remember that he gave these creatures their names and placed them in a system that helps us understand the world around us. And remember that his work was not just about science, but about the human quest to understand and appreciate the marvels of nature.